Clyde had always been believed to be a quiet and humble garbage collector. Everyone in the neighborhood knew him as this gentle giant who was great with their kids and made the garbage collection seem fun. However, one day when no one was watching, one camera caught Clyde doing something that stunned everybody. Clyde had been everyone's trusted garbage collector for multiple years. He always kept the streets clean and always acted very nice to the kids who came to say hi. The fact that John had gotten it all on video had been purely accidental. He had only recently gotten a motion camera with his doorbell, but he could never have guessed what he would capture with it. He didn't recognize the animal in the video. John had no clue if it belonged to any of his neighbors, but thought that this had to be reported regardless of how Clyde behaved around people. It left John with a predicament on what to do. So what would Clyde's explanation be? Was what he had seen on his camera the whole story? And most importantly, could they truly have been this wrong about Clyde? But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Clyde had always been a great man in John's eyes. He was great with his kid, sometimes even playing ball with him if time allowed it. He helped shovel the driveways of the elderly residents in the neighborhood to ensure they wouldn't trip. He did way more than a garbage man should do, so why did the footage suddenly tell him otherwise? John knew he had to ask around. Maybe Clyde had only been nice in everyone's face, he mumbled to himself. He had to get to the bottom of this. John decided to go to his neighbor's home. He had always been rather friendly with Michael, and they shared a kid who was the same age as him, so he hoped he would be some help. He patiently waited for Michael to open the door. Then Michael opened the door to his home, his brow furrowing at the sight of John. "John," he said, his voice filled with confusion. "What's up?" he asked, his eyes darting to whatever could be behind him. He probably thought John had brought along his son to play with his own. "Lucas isn't home right now, so he won't be able to play," Michael explained, but John merely returned the words with a smile. "That was not why he was here. That's not why I am here. That's not why I am here," John answered, which caused Michael to frown. "I saw something rather concerning yesterday on my doorbell camera. I just need a second opinion, or better yet, someone with another camera," John said, and Michael now became curious. Bond finally asked the question we were all thinking. "What the hell did you capture on video?" Michael invited his friend into his home and let him sit on the couch before John grabbed his phone. He quickly found the video of the day before and clicked play so that he and Michael could see it. "Is that Clyde?" Michael asked John, who only nodded in answer. "Okay, what is he?" Michael suddenly went quiet. "What was he doing to that dog?" Michael paused. "Why was he doing that to that dog?" "So do you even recognize the dog?" John asked. Michael's eyes squinted at the screen, deep in thought. "I don't know. I thought Jenny from across the street recently got one. Maybe we should ask her." John nodded at this. That was a good idea. At the very least, it could be their first and only lead. "But to answer your question, John, I unfortunately don't have a camera, but I will help you get to the bottom of this," Michael said. Determination in his eyes. John smiled at this, thankful for his neighbor's offer. They should be able to figure this out with the two of them. "Plus, I feel like with all we have now, we wouldn't have sufficient evidence for the police to even do something about it." "You're right," John answered. "If you want to help me, then we should get started with Jenny. You said she had a golden retriever, right? It seems like that makes her our first lead." John and Michael, with determined strides, approached Jenny's porch, their minds clouded with uncertainty. Upon hearing their inquiry about Bailey, her golden retriever, Jenny's face mirrored their confusion. She revealed that Bailey had mysteriously vanished but was later found at the local shelter, adding an unexpected twist to the already perplexing situation. Jenny, sipping her tea nervously, mentioned that Clyde, the garbage man, had been actively involved in the search for Bailey, which only deepened the mystery surrounding his actions. It continues to under the shadow of an old tree. John and Michael stood, pondering the contradiction between Clyde's well-earned reputation as a trustworthy figure and the unsettling footage. In amidst their walk back through the quiet streets, a thought struck them. What if Clyde's actions, now under a cloud of suspicion, were a misinterpretation of his well-intentioned nature? This possibility, considering his history of helpfulness, cast a new light on the footage, making them second-guess their initial assumptions. Deciding to delve deeper, John and Michael agreed to canvass the neighborhood, seeking any observations from other residents about Clyde's recent behavior or the mysterious golden retriever. As they knocked on doors and gathered stories, they found the community's opinion of Clyde to be a mosaic of contrasts. While some neighbors praised him for his kindness and reliability, others recalled instances that seemed odd, painting a picture of Clyde that was both revered and shadowed by doubt. deepening the enigma surrounding him. In a conversation over garden fences, a neighbor shared an observation that struck a chord. Clyde had been spotted in unusual places at odd times, a revelation that suggested a hidden pattern of behavior. In the quiet of John's study, they pored over public records and online information, seeking to uncover the layers of Clyde's past. They scoured through his employment history and any personal details available, hoping to find clues that would either vindicate or implicate him, their resolve firm in uncovering the truth. In the quiet of John's living room, they resolved to call a neighborhood meeting, a platform to share the baffling footage and solicit input from the community. They hoped this gathering would unearth additional information, perhaps even an unseen footage, shedding light on the day's events that had so deeply unsettled their trust in Clyde. As the day of the meeting dawned, John and Michael, while sipping their morning coffee, voiced their apprehensions. The air was thick with tension as the community hall filled with residents. When the footage was played, a collective gasp echoed through the room, revealing a side of Clyde that was alien to them all. As the footage ended, a murmur rose among the gathered residents. Some neighbors argued fervently in favor of Clyde's character, citing his long history of goodwill, while others questioned his intentions, pointing to the unsettling nature of the footage. As the debate swirled, reflecting the deep uncertainty and conflict felt throughout the room. Amidst the rising voices, an elderly figure, respected and wise, stood up. With a calming presence, he appealed to the crowd, urging them to withhold judgment until more concrete evidence emerged. As the meeting drew to a close, a consensus emerged. The community agreed to delve deeper, seeking additional information and perspectives before making any decisive moves. In the aftermath of the neighborhood meeting, a somber decision was reached. Despite their reservations, the community agreed to involve the police, recognizing the seriousness of the accusations against Clyde. John and Michael, bearing the weight of their community's trust, approached the police station. They detailed the events, from the discovery of the footage to the neighborhood's divided reactions, laying out the situation with a mix of urgency and apprehension. The officers listened with a professional yet skeptical air, their expressions betraying a hint of doubt about the community's concerns. Nevertheless, acknowledging the genuine worry of the residents, they agreed to investigate the matter. The promise of police involvement offered a flicker of hope, albeit shrouded in the uncertainty of what they might uncover. As the police delved deeper, they found Clyde's past to be unblemished, his record clean without a hint of previous misconduct. However, they stumbled upon intriguing gaps in his recent activities. Recognizing the importance of community involvement, the police reached out to the residents, requesting any additional information or footage that could aid their investigation. As Clyde's next scheduled garbage collection day approached, it became apparent that the only way to seek answers was to confront him directly. The neighborhood braced itself, the air charged with tension. Meanwhile, the police strategized their approach to questioning Clyde. They aimed to navigate the sensitive situation with tact, ensuring that their inquiry was thorough yet non-confrontational. The morning was unusually quiet until Clyde's garbage truck turned into the neighborhood, breaking the tense silence. Unaware of the storm that awaited him, he was met by the police, alongside John, Michael, and a group of residents. As they confronted him with the footage and allegations, Clyde's face registered shock, and he vehemently denied any ill intentions, his voice laced with disbelief. He firmly denied any wrongdoing, his voice steady yet filled with an underlying sense of bewilderment, as if the weight of the accusations was too surreal for him to grasp fully. The air grew thick with tension as the confrontation escalated. Just as the situation teetered on the brink of chaos, a new revelation emerged. A neighbor, previously silent, stepped forward with a piece of information that had the potential to change the entire narrative. As the new information unfolded, a wave of reactions swept through the crowd. Some neighbors, who had been harboring doubts about Clyde, began to reconsider their stance, their expressions changing from suspicion to contemplation. With the weight of the community's gaze upon him, Clyde, cornered and burdened by the mounting pressure, conceded to take Bailey. Yet, he implored those gathered to understand that the story was more complex than it appeared. Clyde, his voice steady with earnestness, revealed a startling piece of the puzzle. He had witnessed Bailey displaying aggressive behavior towards Michael's children and had intervened out of a protective instinct. In a state of panic and uncertainty about the dog's ownership, he had made the snap decision to take Bailey to the shelter, prioritizing the child's safety above all. As Clyde's explanation sank in, the crowd's tension dissolved into a collective sigh of relief. The misunderstanding was finally unraveled, but it left in its wake a series of introspective questions about the community's hasty judgment and the ease with which suspicion had overtaken trust. In the aftermath of Clyde's revelation, a humbling moment ensued. Several residents stepped forward, extending sincere apologies to Clyde for the doubts they had harbored. The incident served as a profound lesson for the community. It underscored the importance of withholding judgment and the value of open, honest communication. The neighborhood, once divided by suspicion, now found unity in a shared understanding of the complexities of human actions and the need for empathy in the face of uncertainty.